Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Prosh Connects Episode 3. Today, we're joined by Paula, who's the co founder of Selfin, a company fresh out of the prestigious Y-combinator accelerator with a mission that's ambitious as any moonshot to build the world's first true AI bank. So, Paula, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you. To start, could you introduce yourself in your own words and tell us what Selfin is?
Yes, of course. So I'm Paula. I studied aerospace engineering in a mix between Imperial College in London, MIT, and Berkeley. And now I'm in Y-combinator building on Selfin, which is the first AI bank. And we're trying to merge all different finance in one platform and give personalized advice to anyone.
That's very fascinating. That's very ambitious, if I say so myself. And before we start diving in deeper, I wanted to know a bit about you and your co-founder, Joel. As I understand it, both of you come from the same world of like rocket science and aerospace. How did you guys meet? Where did it begin? Where does collaboration start? Who got the idea? Like,
Yeah, so we both studied aerospace at Imperial, so we know each other from the class and like work projects and like hackathons and different competitions. We had been like brainstorming also with other friends. We had a few like trial startups before we did the Imperial Accelerator with like a supersonic plane, so completely different idea. So we have been like working together for a long time. And then how the idea came up, I went to the I Startup School, which is an event that YC did in San Francisco where they bring Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Satya Nadella, and a lot of like great founders, and we discuss like what they thought was gonna be the next steps of AI. So basically, I had the chance there to discuss with Tom Blomfield, who is now my YC partner, who was the founder of Monzo, which is like a neobank in the UK, and he also founded Carless. So I started like discussing with him different ideas that I had, and especially like this thing of where AI could have an impact in finance, because I have also been working for a few months as a quant at Bank of America. And so from seeing the things from the inside, seeing like which kind of things we believe will be improved, especially in the US. And then I started discussing it with Joel. We started doing some research, and we ended up at YC.
As I was going through your profile, I was actually particularly struck by your win at the European Space Agency Grand Prix. The research for the show revealed that you and your team won a prestigious award for developing a suborbital vehicle. That's certainly not an average university project. So, can you tell us more about that experience?
Yes, of course. So that was the European Space Agency with other companies like Dassault, Airbus, Ariane. They do like a European competition on basically trying to provide a concept or any kind of like space vehicle or supersonic vehicle. And we were in our second year. Actually, we needed like approval from Imperial, and our university didn't wanted us to participate because they thought we're gonna give a very bad impression. But we decided, like me with three other friends, we basically we basically decided to like join the competition and basically learn from it. We had no idea like that we could end up like winning the competition and going to Paris and a few other events with that. But yeah, we just started improving. We basically, because we were very young, we tried to do something completely different to what already existed, because if we were going with something very simple, we're obviously gonna lose. So we went with like the most crazy idea, which is like a plane with two different wings that can go 5 times faster than current planes and that can also go to space. Um, and yeah, like
pretty cool.
we started making progress, and we ended up winning the prize and having some scholarship and other events after that.
That's actually pretty cool. What you guys did there. Like I did a bit of digging at the whole competition, and it was like pretty intense and a pretty great job you guys did in that. Uh, I mean, as I don't know how many times you have been asked this question, but you guys were on like an insane trajectory in aerospace, winning awards, crushing it everywhere. Like, how did banking come into this? Why banking?
I think that's the main question we got, like applying to YC from any
Yeah,
people we meet, the
yeah,
investors.
exactly.
Yeah, we both are engineers, and like I spent some time at NASA, and it was absolutely incredible. And I love aerospace. I think it's amazing. After I always wanted to start a startup, and I think Joel also. Doing a deep tech startup is much harder. It takes much longer. And it's much harder to scale, and especially like as your first startup, it's much easier to go with something like software where you need less capital. So it's pretty hard to build something new in aerospace. So we basically started looking at other things. I personally also I did a secondary degree at the same time in political science, and Joel did it in economics. So we both also like, and we were both starting like if we're not in YC, we'll be now both working in finance. So I guess we both also like both worlds.
So actually, a bit now that you have a crucial badge with YC, and you also spent time as a quant analyst at Bank of America. So how did that experience, seeing like the inner workings of a major financial institution from a highly technical data perspective, shape your idea for what Selfin should be?
I think one of the first advice that YC always gives is if you think there is a problem or if you think there is something that's not working, go and see it by yourself. Um, in my case, it was a little bit the opposite because I was there and so I could see it from the inside. Um, I think Bank of America and other banks are incredibly great institutions, but because they are so big, they also struggle a lot with integrating new technologies, especially with AI and finance, which are very regulated environment and where they have to be very careful with any kind of changes, as they are very large institution and of course they need to manage risk. Um, I think from the inside it's easier to see how all these large institutions struggle to make changes because not because they are bad but just because it's extremely hard, and so how there is a place for startup that maybe 10 years ago was not, especially like in the finance and banking industry.
Yeah, that's actually very insightful. Uh, a lot of people don't realize like aerospace and finance do have a very similar risk profile, whereas a lot of things can go wrong when you're building planes and orbitals and all of these things. But even when you're building like a finance first company, a lot of things can go wrong. Like you might just end up wiping someone's entire savings and all of that. So how do you tackle these kind of situations at Selfin? Did was there a framework you guys followed? How big is your team? Maybe, how long have you worked on problems like that?
We have been working for like very short term. We applied to YC a month, like 5 weeks ago, and we have been working since then. So we're very, very early stage. And right now, we are the two co-founders, and we also have another person here with us. We are waiting until YC Demo Day to basically bring more people to the team. But right now, we are focused on building, so we're not really planning to expand in the next 3 weeks until we close our round. And in terms of like managing risk, yes, especially we are a B2C, which is more risky than doing a vertical SaaS B2B
Yeah.
company. Um, but I think it's a matter of like being sure about what you want to build, not being afraid of risk. At the end of the day, we are very young, and we'll figure out a way. And if not, we will just pivot. Um, and the last thing you mentioned, yes, aerospace is much closer to finance than what people thought. Like even when I remember when I used to apply to like quant roles, the different risk models that you implement at the end of the day are partial differential equations, which is
Yeah.
exactly the same that you solve in aerospace. So the words are, and you also need to be like in both finance and aerospace, you need to make sure you don't make mistakes because both can end up in very dramatic situations. So yeah.
So that's really interesting. So I just wanted to get into the product itself. So your tagline is the first AI bank. That's a bold statement. And can you paint a picture for us of the user experience? Like if I download the Selfin app today or join the waitlist, what vision for what happens when I get access? What do I connect? And what does the AI start doing for me automatically?
Yeah, so I cannot share too much because we still haven't launched it for the public. We have like a wait list and we're letting people little by little try it. Um, right now what we have is, let's say, a sort of AI financial advisor, where through APIs basically you can connect your banks and it gives you a a financial advice for free. So it can tell you, for example, how much fees you have paid, if your money is in the right place, or if you should move it, like you should invest more, invest less, if you should open one credit card or another. So basically, like, it can tackle any kind of financial products and recommend you for free whatever you want to do. And that's like the step one, because of course financial products take a long time and there are a lot of regulation until you can start having your own financial products. And basically from that we are gonna start expanding. But yeah, if you register to the waitlist, you will hopefully soon be able to try it.
Exciting. That's very exciting. And in your vision, when you thought of Selfin, when you started working on it, when you started applying to YC, and did this vision, like you mentioned, like it gives you advice, right? And does this advice at any point does it expand? Have you ever thought of like it asking the AI or like your algorithms which sort of like help the user in moving their money, maybe from like one savings account to like a different one to help them get better rates? Or was this ever a part of your vision, or are there any plans for it? Do you guys think about this?
Yes, of course. Like our idea is basically to have one finance platform where you have everything. You can move the money around, you can connect everything, and you can have all the different financial products, including investment, crypto, or like traditional banking. But all this takes time, and moving money around has a lot of regulation complexity. Probably is easier if you start with stable coins and or crypto. But yes, like, we're going step by step. Right now we're focusing on like the next 5 weeks until YC demo day, which is basically a financial advisor that you can use. But yes, that's one of the next things that we want to implement.
That's incredibly helpful. It brings up a fundamental question about strategy. What do you see as your ideal first customer? Is Selfin designed to be a personal finance manager for like the everyday Joe, or someone who might be overwhelmed by finance and needs an automated pilot? Or is it more tailored to like high net worth individuals and affluent users, basically, who have more complex financial lives?
Um, you're asking a lot of questions. Um, like, let's say that we have defined like different 2 or 3 different targets, markets that we think will be appropriate for us. Um, we At the end of the day, we're making a product that anyone could use, but of course we cannot target everyone because we'll just our marketing strategy will not work. Right now we are starting with like young people, which are the easiest one usually to target because of social media. um, Both people that are not very aware of financial products in the US, like internationals that come to the US and want to build their credit score, but also all the people that are these kind of finance excited people that like to have investment crypto and are also like interested in like the pension plans, and they want to have like one place where they can connect everything and get like basically AI to help them with both like more kind of like robot advisor in terms of investing, but also in terms of having all the places and see how much money they should put, how much risk, and how to manage risk. So maybe that's our 2 first initial segments that we are targeting.
Definitely. I was just wondering, when I was just researching more about the product, and, when you say like the world's first AI bank, uh, would say I as a user be able to deposit money from day one, or would that something come, somewhere down the line, after, you know, a few months of planning or so on, like what is the timeline looking like? If you're able
It,
to divulge any details.
it's pretty like, I don't know if you know, but making a B2C bank, like, well, first having a banking regulation is almost impossible in the US. You
Yeah,
need like some bank service provider. But apart from that, it takes a lot of time and a lot of regulation. So right now, we don't want to get into that, and it also provides like more confidence to our users. So we are we are never basically owning your money. Like your money is 100% secure in a FD insure bank, and we have no way to basically be able to edit any kind of thing. So it's 100% secure. The only thing we can do is read and give you advice, and you're the one that decide. But yes, of course, this is down the line, and it takes time because it's a very secure and regulated industry. But it will come.
Yeah, this I think this brings us to what might be your biggest challenge. It's and I don't think it's a technical one. I think it's trust, and like people for good reason are incredibly cautious about their finances. So I think the idea of handing over automated control to an AI is like a huge psychological leap. So do you have any plans to solve this trust paradox? Like, how do you convince people to trust that AI to help build?
Yes, so um, people are trusting more and more AI. Like at the beginning, people didn't want to share anything, and now everyone is sharing all their personal life to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And of course, we need to be extremely secure on not using any kind of financial data to train anything. Like everything is secure on that. And in terms of right now, what we have, we are basically there is absolutely no way we can use our financial data on anything. Like we don't sell your data. Your data is 100% secure. We don't use it to train model. And the only thing we're providing basically is helping you. You know, the only thing we're and it's completely free. The only thing we're doing is helping the user to get better financial decisions just by having access to your data. But we're not doing anything with the data. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people don't trust these big financial institutions because they try to make money uh, taking fees or because that's how they work. How we work is we don't get any commission for recommending you something. So at the end of the day, our only way to make money is basically by having the user to trust us that we are giving the best possible solution that we are able to find.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting approach. I mean, if you may, let's talk about more about your recent journey. How is it being a part of YC? Have you met a lot of people? Have you met other founders, other co-founders who are tackling similar problems to you? How has the experience been?
Yeah, I will say like I already thought that YC was amazing. I think you don't understand how YC works until you are inside. It's like an absolutely incredible experience. For example, yesterday we had a talk from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. We have had the CEO of Figma. We had the CEO of Airbnb, and like a few others are coming. So that's incredible in terms of advice, especially because all the advice that we are getting is like in a very small room where they really share their things, and it's not like the typical call they do online where they I will say like all these persons are also marketing persons, and the good thing of having them in like a small networking is like you can really have much more their feelings and the situation and the things they struggle with than if you're in a large place. And apart from that, like meeting other co-founders, yes, it's incredible. Like I think being part of YC is always feeling you are late compared to the others because everyone goes extremely fast and everyone is extremely helpful. Like it's a very, very strong community. And I 100% recommend it to any kind of startup.
Yeah, I think YC is famous for its core mantra, make something people want. And you came in with a very strong technical vision. And I think what I want to ask is that vision you had after all the office hours and meeting a lot of people, did some part of it change or did you refine your vision for Selfin after all meeting and speaking to people?
Yeah. Like right now, let's say we thought YC was gonna be like coding and spending, it's also like that. Like it's coding 24/7 and trying to go fast. But at the end of the day, like we spend most of our time trying to speak to users, trying to get feedback. Uh, Most YC companies pivot a few times, uh,
Mm.
trying to basically just find product market fit, which is the main key. Like once you have product market fit, then you start like. But I think that's the hardest part. And yes, we have changed it. We have not completely pivoted, but like changed some tweaks of like, let's try this, let's not try this, that doesn't work. And that's basically our everyday job right now is speaking to users and saying, okay, we need to change that.
Definitely, that's a very essential part, like listening to like user feedback and like pivoting when needed. Another big part of YC is, I believe, the mentors they provide. And I believe the mentor assigned to you was Tom Bloomfield, the founder of Monzo. I mean, it seemed like a perfect fit because he had a huge success in the field of finance and banking. Did you by any chance like have a chance to like have a talk with him and like throw some ideas at him maybe? Can you tell us
Yes,
a bit about that?
how YC works is you basically are assigned a partner or a few partners. In our case, we have Tom, but we also have a Gray, who work with him at a Bank of we at Bank of America, Go Carles. Um, and yes, basically we have different meetings with them. We exchange all our points of view. They give us what they think, and they're extremely like. I think the great stuff about YC is that it's you are extremely close to your partner, and it's like you end up knowing them a lot, and you're really being able to send a message at any time of the day saying, "I have this problem. What do I do?" And
Mm,
sometimes like they don't know everything, but they're extremely helpful because they have seen thousands and thousands of companies, and they probably don't know what you have to do, but they're very useful on telling you what not to do.
YC network is, of course, like legendary for its access to the leaders who are shaping the tech industry. So you mentioned that you had a chat, or basically Sam Altman spoke yesterday. So did you have any time to personally speak to him, or could you give us some insights on what he spoke about?
Eh, Most of the things that usually happen inside YC stay inside
instead I
YC.
see.
Uh, and I think that's why YC is so powerful, because we get a lot of information, a lot of insights. But for example, now I can say it because everyone knows it. For example, we discussed that OpenAI launched today the new browser.
Yeah,
Um, that's one of the things that Sam Altman. But basically, it's a lot of like, where do all these persons that are like in the top of tech think AI is gonna go? Which places they think is a good idea? Which places they think, which like sectors they think are gonna struggle, and like this kind of sort of discussions.
Yeah, that's it. Seems very insightful. Um, and as Pranav, do you have anything to say
yeah.
to this?
So I actually had a question. Is everything mostly AI focused for this YC batch, or in general, are there any other startups that don't have any implemented implementation of AI at all?
I think like um not only for this batch, for the last few batches, AI is like core. Like,
Yeah,
but I think there's starting to be a difference. Before it was like everyone was hyped about like, oh, let's do our own models and let's do everything from scratch. I think now like startups and YC it's improving in terms of like OpenAI is taking, and all these large companies are taking more and more spaces. So trying to compete with them it's very hard, or trying to build like something that in 2 3 days so ChatGPT is just gonna be able to do it, and then your company dies. So I think in this batch, for example, there start to be an evolution in terms of like the most of the companies have a core business, and of course they implement AI everywhere, but probably the core business is not the AI part.
makes sense.
It's, that's actually very insightful. As we begin to wrap this conversation up, as you look ahead, the next 6 to 12 months, what do you feel is like a big milestone or like a challenge that Selfin, is like focused on or like is solving right now, maybe?
I think the main thing for us is really finding product market fit. Um, One of the things, for example, they told us at YC, like many people think they have product market fit, but they don't really have it. And like our main goal is try to find that point in which you're basically you don't have like you are really going behind in terms like user asking much more than what you really can provide. And I think that's like our main goal right now. It's not raising it, like these are like steps. It's not building. It's like really finding something that it's what YC said, like that people want.
Yeah, I think you've made this incredible journey from aerospace to founding an AI bank. For the founders listening who are basically deep experts in one domain but see a massive problem they want to solve in another, like a completely different field, what's your advice on making that leap, especially into a highly complex regulated industry?
This is maybe more my like personal opinion, but I think being a founder, especially a CEO, you need to be able to do a lot of tasks. And you need to be able to understand like completely different things, because every hour is like you have a completely different role that in a large company another person will be doing. Um, I think for me, the good thing of being of independent industry is that I have been able to tackle like more the software part, the engineering part, the how to manage people, work with people. And I think like that's one of the main, if I wanted to found a company, that's one of the main things I would like to learn. Like it's amazing to be extremely specialized in one part, but I think having a broad idea of different industries is very helpful.
Actually, very well spoken. From like designing suborbital vehicles to like now re-architecting personal finance. Your journey with like Selfin is like, very like a powerful testament to like, how people can just like can and should pivot when they feel the need to. Thank you again, Paula, for like sharing your story and your vision with us today. And for all our listeners who want to follow along and be the first to experience the future of banking, you know, Paula, can you tell us, where can they go and find you?
Yes, of course. Like the best place if they want to check selfin.app and register to the waitlist. We'll be giving more and more people access. We're trying to fix the bugs first. But anyone that wanna try it, and if anyone has any kind of question, they can reach out to me like on LinkedIn or even on WhatsApp. I'm giving my phone every user that tries it, because we're really trying to give the best experience to all our users.
Of course. Thank you so much, and all the best for
Yeah.
Selfin and Y-Combinator.
Thank you very much for having me.